Alright, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video, and this time I wanted to talk about Iron Banner and how it is feeling this season, and compare that to past seasons and what I'm hoping to see change in the future. As I mentioned before, I am getting further and further away from PvP in this game. I just cannot be bothered to play it with any regularity in order to sharpen my skills and get better, and it's been 7 years. I'm not getting any better at this point. I'm kind of content with being just a mid player, which is fine. But I did want to dive in this week to get the new armor sets, which are reprised from Destiny 1, the really classic Wolf set on Hunter and the classic Knight set on Titan, and the Warlock set is not anything special really. But for collection purposes, I wanted to get that. I wrote today about how there is a really awesome shader that probably no one even knows exists, because you can't even see into the second tier of rep upgrades until you actually get there, which a lot of people probably will never get to. So you have to look in collections for the shader. And B, it's chainmail. It's a chainmail shader which takes the cloth texture on armor and turns it into chainmail, which is awesome for Warlock robes or Titan marks or Hunter capes or things like that. The way these Iron Banner shaders usually work is they are around for a season and then they never show up again. I have plenty of Iron Banner shaders I just never got around to getting in past seasons, and most of them have never shown up again in any meaningful capacity. This is set behind pretty much 2 full tiers of grinding. I don't know if it's the last rank, but it's close to the end of the second reset, meaning you have to grind a metric ton to get there. One of the problems that I think everyone is sort of realizing now is that despite all these so-called bonuses and stuff that you're getting from wearing the gear and wearing the icon and, completing, I don't even know how many games it is, but 20 games or 15 games or whatever over the course of 4 days for these challenges, by the time you get there and you're fully upgraded, it's still pretty much on the same level as just being on a normal Crucible streak and the rep you get from that. In other words, it is not very fast. It is pretty slow. And then the problem is that combined with the fact that there are now only 2 weeks of Iron Banner, the grind is extremely intense. I just played for 90 minutes at least, and I think I went up a rank and a half, maybe. And I need to get to, I think there's 17 ranks before a reset, and then I'll have to get to 14 or 15 or 16 or whatever to get the shader. And I have been playing the daily challenges every day. I haven't been grinding it like crazy, because another thing is that you don't really want to grind like crazy until you're at maximum rep, which is not going to happen, I think, until later today after reset in about 30 minutes here. So you get the final stage of the upgrade for rep. And so you're kind of wasting your time if you overgrind in the days leading up to the weekend. And so you're just really supposed to grind today at noon through reset. And so this is a really small, condensed period of time for grinding out Iron Banner when there are just 2 weeks of it in a season now. I don't think anyone really likes 2 weeks in a season. That feels like too few. They wanted to make any more special event or whatever, but I think the feedback from the past 2 seasons of them doing this was that it is not enough to just do 2, especially with you gotta reset twice for gilding Iron Lord, and you gotta get all the armor pieces, you gotta get the weapon rolls you want, you gotta get the shader, all of this stuff. It even as someone who does grind this game a lot, it's a lot. It feels like a lot, to the point where it's just I've in my own mind I've kind of steeled myself I'm getting that shader no matter what, but it's exhausting to kind of think about at the current pace here. The second problem with Iron Banner this season is the mode itself. I don't like it very much. It's okay, but compared to at least Rift, once they fixed Rift, I thought it was a lot better. When they had some changes, there were mercies, that was a little better. The only problem with Rift is that there weren't enough maps to play it on. And then whatever the hell it was called last season, I don't actually know the name of that mode anymore. I can't remember. The one where you would go on kill streaks and then you would get bonus ability energy and whatever, and then you'd have to kill people or you blow up. That was very fun. That was a very fun mode. Kind of weird that they just disappeared it, and it's not even a rotator, I don't think. This time around we have Fortress, and they wouldn't tell us anything about Fortress. They wanted to keep it a secret. All we knew was that it had something to do with Cabal turrets. And that's it. That's all we got. And the reality is that it's just kind of Cabal turrets. It's not really like anything that elaborate. For the most part, it is a normal kind of capture the zones exercise. Kills do not count for anything. It is just however many zones you control. The points keep ticking up. I like that in some ways. I like a heavily objective focused match. I do not agree with everyone that says we need to be plastering everyone's KD everywhere, and I like that it's objective focused and that the people who play the objective the most will top the leaderboard. And I'm not just saying that because that's usually me in first or second place because I actually go for the zones. Okay, maybe I am saying that, but I don't mind that aspect of it. I know that's like if you're a harder core PvP player, you really want to know how much you're slaying out and whatever. But that's not the main problem with the mode. The main problem with the mode is the whole cluster F in the middle, which happens twice a game. This is where the Cabal turrets drop. The turrets themselves are kind of a non-factor. You get points for killing them, but that's really it. And they die so quickly that you barely even have time to register they're there half the time. And so this becomes just a nightmare of super stacking to a degree I don't think we've ever seen. It's 6v6 with a singular capture point. So you just have everyone spamming wells and bubbles and then things to pop those wells and bubbles in the middle. The challenges are all for void and stasis, so you have mostly just a million Titan bubbles, which gets very exhausting, and then you have Nova Bombs that pop those. And it's just a little too chaotic for this to happen essentially twice a game. And then whoever wins, like whoever kind of comes out with the advantage after the first round of that really has kind of a steamroll advantage heading into the second version of that, because it happens at 40 and it happens at 80. But if you've won the 41, you're almost at 80 to begin with. And so it's just these games tend to snowball in traditional Iron Banner fashion, I guess you would call it, but in a way that I would argue is not terribly interesting or fun. It's just, I don't know. This just doesn't seem like the highest quality mode that they've delivered, and I was hoping for a bit more interesting stuff with the Cabal Keitel interference, and the turrets are just sort of, they almost don't even need to exist. Like I think I've been killed by a turret one time ever because I got lodged against the wall and drilled by it, but besides that, like the turrets are just a non-factor. So I don't know. I am happy to have these new armor sets to grind for. The shader I am going for is very cool. It is one of the coolest shaders I've seen in a very long time in the game. But like the rep system for grinding, like they made it better, I guess, compared to the days when all you could literally do was just random focus engrams or not random focus, just turn in engrams and turn in tokens to Saladin for gear. We are better than those days to a certain extent, but gaining the title and getting the shader behind just a truly nuts amount of grinding feels pretty exhausting, and I don't think the current like rep bonus system is quite functioning as intended when you're out earning rep just with normal Crucible gains. This mode itself I don't think is a big hit by anyone's standards, and I kind of hope we circle back to the one last season as opposed to just always doing a new mode as an experiment and then having that either disappear or go into a rotator. I don't know. I think you kind of stick with what works, and then I'd like to go to Iron Banner Classic at some point too. And then generally speaking, I think most people would agree that 2 weeks of Iron Banner, especially all the grinding that you have to do for some of these rewards, is too less. So that is kind of my overall take on how this week is going. I will see how things go over the weekend with the grind, with my schedule, since I'm playing games during the week for work, and I'm spending time with my family mostly on the weekends. Instead, I have less time to play on the weekend as opposed to the weekdays, so that's the inverse for me compared to a lot of people. So I have no idea if I'm actually going to get this done or not, but things are not looking promising so far. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.